Good afternoon and welcome back to another show of the Global Sport in Colour, Voice Newspaper, Sports Magazine show. I'm here with Rodney Hines, Michael Facey, Voice Newspaper, Sports Editor, owner of Nothing Long. Sports, Nothing Long Sports, Nothing Long TV.
Nothing Long Athletics.
Just Nothing Long.
Just Nothing Long.
Just Nothing
Everything's Nothing Long.
We're here this week. We're going to talk about the big fight, because that's the first thing on a, when you at Wembley, 3 or 4 days out from Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. You'd be remiss of us to start anywhere else. Let's have it right.
Absolutely.
It's a big, massive fight. Hold on a minute, who's that? Here's Danny Lynch. We mentioned at the top of the show that Danny Lynch, the guy that basically helped this podcast, this sports magazine talk show, to take place at Wembley. We said he'd be here. This is the man. This is Danny Lynch. Thanks for your time.
Lord
sir.
Lynch.
Thank you, Joel.
Lord Lynch.
Thank you, Joel.
Really
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Rodney,
Been a
Michael,
pleasure.
and it's been a pleasure.
Dan, I've seen you more often than I've seen my missus this week.
Yeah, I don't know your missus.
No, I know.
That's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing,
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
At least you know I
Yeah.
weren't lying. He's here. Raise Your Game,
Yes.
was that, which is a Kick It Out initiative
Yeah.
For mentors and mentees.
Yeah.
And also saw you at the Best of Africa. Talk to me about those two events.
Well, Raise Your Game was as you say, it was Kick It Out's annual mentoring conference. Funnily enough, when I used to work there, I was involved in how that, shaping that, if you like, how that looked, how that felt, getting people involved. And someone said to me at the time it was speed dating. I know Rodney's very familiar.
Somehow
No. 15 years ago, it's fine.
Maybe 20?
maybe 20, thank you, Mike. But listen, for me to see it expand and evolve in the way that it's done, and getting real quality people like the people I'm surrounded with here is testament to how people are energised around it. There's a real appetite for it, and also, big applause for Kick It Out in develop it in the way that they have done. It's an annual thing now. People look out for it. It's part of the footballing calendar, and long may it continue.
We always talk about the importance of events like these, but I want to know, from your point of view, how important it is that you attend events like this.
Well, I attend an event like this to be supportive to the staff, to the mentors and the mentees, to show that really I have an understanding of what a day like this is for those young people who have dedicated themselves to find out more about opportunities and how to get those in football. But secondly, if we have people who come to the events with the power, who can make a difference, to remind them that the talking is one thing, but the doing is what we want, because they're going to be judged on outcomes. And we've done a lot of talking over a long period of time. An event like this is to help those young people to see the scope of what's available, but it's for these other people to now open the doors and let them in.
How important, from your point of view as well, is it that the FA are here, Greg Clark, Premier League are involved, that they actually come and attend and see people, and actually people see them? How significant is that?
Well, I've got to say, years ago, there wouldn't have been anyone from the governing bodies, maybe someone from the PFA. I was chairman for a number of years. Bobby Barnes is there. Garth Crooks was chairman as well. But I think as time's gone on, they're recognising the importance of diversity. They're recognising the importance that this is a game for all. And people actually love the game from different backgrounds, not just because they're from this country, but because they have a love of the game. Whether they're black, whether they're Asian, male or female, there's a love for the game at all levels. And I think sometimes people don't realise that, but it's coming out now. Slowly but surely people are recognising the good work that's been done at grassroots level, particularly in London, but I'm sure all over the country. But I know a lot of good work in the area I grew up in, South London. Many people are doing such great things in other areas of London, but also around the country, I should stress that. But it's great that people are here today, realising that the future is in our hands.
Best of Africa Awards, was that your first time?
It was my third
third?
time. Again, it was.
Can't keep you awake.
No, but this is it.
It's a jello rice.
Again, it was something I was lucky enough to be involved in when they first started back in 2011. And again, that's something that's gone through different incarnations, but it was a wonderful night to be there. And actually seeing some of the talent, doing things off the field. Curtis Davis with his
Very
HIV, charity.
Don't get enough credit, though.
No, absolutely, those things fly under the radar, and it's because of people like Francis, like Aisha, who have the time, resource, energy, money to put these things together, they get profiled.
Big congratulations to them for
and
that.
again, I think
Fantastic
it was
night.
a wonderful,
It was a
wonderful
great
night.
occasion. How important are events like this?
To be fair, it's massive. You know, we started this a couple of years ago already, and now, you know, the thing is getting bigger. People are coming, so we can enjoy it more. And that kind of event send a big messages around the world, around the country, in England.
I mean, it's very important. I mean, like I always said, we see a lot of individual African players that they become a star. You know, the likes of Kanu, Joshua, Drogba, Eto'o, and Mboma. It's a lot. So you will be happy. It will be good to keep seeing that progressive for the new generation. You know, like we see the Sadio Mane, you know, Wanyama from Kenya. You know, it's good to see them. And also, overall, I would like to see one day an African team win the World Cup.
Dan, for those who don't know, those who are listening, watching, what's your role here at the FA? And tell me about some of the exciting things that are on the horizon.
I've been at the FA for 4 years, and I came here on account of the fact that I was comms manager for the Kick It Out campaign, which is where I came into contact with this
Beast.
Yes.
Beast. Gargantuan character.
And it was a wonderful opportunity. The portfolio that I was working on was the discrimination agenda, the diversity agenda, and that's expanded to include other things as well, such as issues-based things. So not really the things that go on out there, but important things nevertheless. So governance, discipline, safeguarding, still looking after the diversity agenda. How do we get more BME coaches, referees, people in boardroom positions, and so on and so forth? How do we get more women involved? How do we get more people who are visibly Muslim, Jewish, and so on, reflected in the work that we do here? Because the FA is the guardians of the game, the custodian of the game, and we, as an organisation, and the work that we do, need to look like the real world. And you could argue that perhaps we haven't reflected that yet, but we're on that journey.
No, I know that's the premise of all the work that you do, and you're making strides, as you say. Anything we got specifically to look forward to in the future? I would say, so Rodney, it's 10 years since the new Wembley.
Absolutely.
Amazing, yeah.
And
absolutely.
There's been some great football in that time. Who won the first trophy? Was it Chelsea?
Chelsea, I think.
Chelsea,
yeah.
Doesn't bode well for you guys, does it?
It might be a nice anniversary for them.
I was going to say.
But do you know who the first music act was?
No.
George Michael.
Is that right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So listen, we away from the high profile stuff, a lot of the work that I do is aimed at the grassroots. And this year is a really, really important year for women's football. Rodney, I know it's something that you're massively in tune with. And
that's growing, isn't it?
And the Voice as a newspaper has always reflected that. And long may that continue as well. But I think we've got an important year to double women's participation, double women's audience numbers. And there's been one or two false dawns as far as the women's game is concerned, but I think you'll probably agree with me, Rodney. We're at a bit of a junction now where I think we can make some real mainstream
Very, very much
success.
so, and I want to put it on record that the relationship between the FA and The Voice, as long as I've been in sports editor, has been fantastic. Our working relationship at Kick It Out and then here.
We follow each other around.
We follow each
really
other around,
bad
yeah. But no, it's just been fantastic. Danny's been pivotal to so many things and insights that we wouldn't normally get. And Danny also understands that The Voice plays a role in trying to overcome some of the shortcomings, for the want of a better term, that are taking place.
I'm definitely a progressive thinker. And Dan, I know you've got to shoot off, so I can't let you go without talking a little bit of boxing, because I know you do a bit in your spare time.
Yes.
Does more than a bit. He's
put it on the line. He's got to put it on the line. Put it on the line.
The O went last month, but anyway, that's the next month's podcast.
Klitschko Joshua.
Yeah.
Who wins? And how?
Okay.
And what round?
Michael.
So we're going to put that one in.
Going straight to the bookies after this.
For me, we were lucky enough to have Carl Froch in the building a couple of weeks ago, and I spent a little bit of time with him. And listen, he is a
great champion.
Absolutely,
Great
he's
champion.
a bona fide boxing expert. He's done it in the ring, and now
nice
he's
to win it, yeah?
Absolutely
one huge respect all over the world.
And his punditry is it's in the ascendancy, and people listen to what he's got to say. He said to me that Klitschko is too old, and you will see that in the early rounds. So if Joshua, who is the younger man, he's the fitter man, he's the stronger man, can come out and do it early, Klitschko won't be able to deal with that. After 6 rounds, skill, experience and ringcraft comes
Takes
in.
over,
Yeah.
So if he's able to weather that storm, Joel, for the first 6 rounds, then we might see a different fight. I've stopped predicting boxing after the hay value fight, because for me it was the haymaker in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look how that worked out.
Well,
Yeah.
none of us.
So I know
what to do
very
with
little.
that. We're
Yeah.
just making it up
But
as
listen,
it goes on.
I think it's going to be a wonderful
Yeah.
night for Wembley Stadium,
Of course.
in its 10th year, as you rightly say, and also for British boxing, and also, let's bring it back to a voice perspective, Anthony Joshua, young black guy,
Absolutely.
he's
Great
world famous, and he's wonderful for the sport, for London.
And what he does out the ring
And
as well.
absolutely, he's a humble guy, as he tells us regularly. You know, but I think he's a guy who is really, really going places, and I really hope he does it on Saturday night.
Listen, thanks for your time, Danny. Like I said, I know you got to go. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Joe.
And we'll have you back on soon.
Appreciate that, big man.
Probably when we come back.
Thank you very much.
Daniel Lynch.
So that was Danny's take on on the fight. And but what's your take, Rod? Who wins that fight? How is it? Like Danny said, you know, like Carl Froch said. What do you think?
Could be a little bit of a chess match. You've literally got the new young gun, Anthony Joshua, who we've got to remember is a champion in his own right. So we're not talking about someone that's behind the years. And of course you've got Klitschko. If we could call this and call sports predictions and rely upon them, we'd probably be out of work sooner rather than later, wouldn't we? So, and that's what makes it so intriguing. But personally, I think it's got to be Anthony Joshua. I remember a fight not too long, well, a good few years ago now, and it's about timing I'm talking about. Ricky Hatton against Costa Zoo, if you remember. Costa Zoo, great champion, but was just in a scenario. And Ricky was just in a, and I think that's what you got here. And I think Klitschko is more than a, and I think Joshua's more than a, yeah. I think it's just about timing. This is what promoters like Eddie Hearn are born to do. Get the timing right for your man, to give him those advantages. So for me, the young gun wins. Got to be sensible. Got to fight the opponent as opposed to the occasion, as we say sometimes in football terms. But for me, Anthony Joshua, his time.
Face 90,000 people here.
He's done it already though. He's been here already with on the Frotch bill with Frotch Groves.
So it's not new.
It's not new, and he did turn up, and he delivered. But yeah, similar to what Rodney was saying, I think he's got to let the occasion not get the better of him. But I don't think he will. I think those nights in the O2, over and over again, every single one, he's not actually been faced. He's turned up and just done the business, regardless of who he was fighting or what it was beforehand. I do think that it is Joshua's, but I think Dr. Still, as they call him, Stillhammer, he loves a 12-rounder anyway. So I just think it's a jab fest and just a little bit of skill. And like Danny said, like Carl said, he's got to do a lot of work early and then just sit on the outside for the next.
There's a term in sport called defining moments, isn't it? And I just think Saturday evening, Saturday night is going to be a defining moment for Anthony Joshua. I think, you know, you're talking about the world's first billion-pound fighter.
I
think that's what you're talking about.
Who does he fight next?
Hold on a minute. Where's your prediction, fam?
I'm
trying to run away from that one. Hold on a minute.
Anthony Joshua's going to win it. I can't work out if the fight's going to go long or if he does what the Cobra says, you know, blows him away early. And the reason I can't see him blowing him away early, because who's done that to Klitschko? No one like that I can remember.
But we are talking about
a
Klitschko.
40-year-old man.
I'm saying, I'm not going to disrespect him
his
because
pride alone won't let that happen.
I
in
think-
front of his
I
people.
think- I
But
think-
then when Anthony Joshua punches you in your face with the ferocity of a man who wants that WBA title, who wants to be the
I'll tell you
great
what
that
I've
he
seen
now
though.
knows he can be.
I'll tell you what I've seen though. Just watching the build-up, I think the respect is there from Anthony, rightfully so. And I think just with that respect is enough not to just do that and just to stay on the outside and work
But
it.
my thing is this, even with all that respect and he's humble and we've said all of that, that's great. And I love that about Anthony. Love he's the poster boy for the sport. Love that he's carrying everything that's on his shoulders with that regal kind of, he's ready, he was born for this, like he's found his lane. I love that. Moving on from boxing, we were here over the weekend, Rodney, for the semi-finals of
yes,
the FA
indeed.
Cup.
Wonderful weekend.
Yeah, two good games. Your thoughts on both of those?
I think you mentioned it to me while we were sitting watching the first or the second game, I can't remember. Someone said the FA Cup was dead in terms of a spectacle many years ago. Those two semi-finals there over the weekend suggested to me that it's back. Emirates are now sponsoring it. Beautiful timing as far as they're concerned. I still don't know. I had a lot of Tottenham fans here dotted around in the boxes and in the ordinary seats. They were texting me what's up. I still don't know how Tottenham lost that game. Somebody's going to pipe up and say, because they conceded 4 goals, arguably the best defence in the country. And I think that's why I always encourage people to come to games, not just cup finals, but just football, because scorelines don't always reflect what happens in the 90 minutes. And I think that's what we had Chelsea-Tottenham. But Chelsea just do what they do, don't they? They see things out.
You know, I was fortunate though, because I was at home. I had a lot of work to do, but I was actually fortunate to watch that game from at home, from an armchair point of view. And when I was listening to the commentary, it made sense. I mean, Alan Shearer and Genius was going at it. And I was just, and what Alan was saying was right. It's literally, it doesn't matter about possession. It didn't matter.
Especially in cup football.
Especially in cup football. It's about that level of quality to execute those goals. And that's what I think Chelsea brought to the table. It was just literally the big players turned up and they put it away when they needed to.
I think it was all one with the tactics, the psychology of the tactics, having the 2 big guns on the bench. I thought the big old punch up, and I call it a punch up because it was like 2 juggernauts going at it in the midfield in terms of the, the formations being like for like. I think that made a difference. I thought Conte done Pochettino.
The player of this season by the Player of the Year award, well done, N'Golo Kante, getting for that.
Big up, Conte.
And I do think that due to Tottenham's misfortune with where does Danny play? Left back?
Danny Rose, that's a big miss.
That was the miss.
That's a big miss.
I mean, obviously Danny Rose is fit, Son doesn't play, it looks a lot better. I mean, Pochettino since come out and said the reason that he done that was to try and keep more of an attacking threat on
I understand
Chelsea.
it, but
It just didn't work.
It's cup football. I've also got
Chelsea
to say,
were clinical, the goals were great.
I got to say Dembele and Wanyama were beasts and, saw them close up
now
and
the battle was
personal.
great.
But Matic
against Kante and Matic.
That midfield battle was just
beautiful.
Phenomenal.
I mentioned a midfield punch up and I can't wait to see them go at it again.
Arsenal.
Who wins the final?
We'll talk about the other semi.
Got to talk about the other
Sorry.
Oh, he's a...
Don't worry. You understand that.
It's fair enough.
Now, if we'd lost, it'd be the first item on the agenda. But don't worry. Listen, I said in last week's podcast, and we all called it. Even Troy called it. I went for a North London final, which suggested that I believed Arsenal would win. And I had this belief that Arsenal would do a number on Man City. It wasn't based on form. It's that thing that you get sometimes with sport, when you put on a little flutter or you just back one side as opposed to the other. I just had a feeling, and so it proved. It was a horrible first half. I remember we commented it because we'd had all the fancy, sexy stuff in the previous game between Chelsea and Tottenham. The first half of Arsenal Man City was not good to watch, but Arsenal hung on.
He backed his formation.
For once, we have to say, and we're taking a lot of criticism on this podcast, quite rightly, Arsenal battled and showed some minerals.
Oxlade-Chamberlain played a fantastic
absolutely.
game.
Has he now?
He did what Son didn't.
And you know what? And I watch Arsenal games most weeks, and I've been one. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain's been around a while now, and I never quite thought we knew where his best position was. Now I know it's early; it's only 2 games, but he might now have found a position where he can go up and down that side with a little bit of defensive responsibility. But the ball he crossed in from Monreal was as good as Eriksen's ball.
But when he's out there,
he
does that.
He does that.
I just think that for Ox, I don't believe he knew his best position. And I think, because when he initially came, he was a striker, wasn't he? Or up front, he was a forward. And I just think he's now growing to appreciate that change.
Absolutely.
And we just call that screwing up.
Well done to Arsenal, that's all I'll say. City, I mean, I said it to you during the game, City hit the woodwork twice. Had a goal disallowed that I think should have been allowed with that ball coming in, didn't go quite out. But that's what you need, and I said it to you on the day.
Cup football.
It's cup football.
Especially with 2 teams.
You don't win the Premier League by luck.
No.
You can win the FA Cup by luck.
Can win any cup by luck.
So
when it gets to this stage of the tournament as well, it's who turns up on
just
the day.
turn up.
Absolutely.
Who wins in the final, boys?
I think, we're 4 weeks away?
Yeah.
When we get to those 4 weeks, Chelsea will still be favourites to win the cup. But Man City were favourites to beat. Now, you've got a scenario where Chelsea might have won a Premier League title already,
Yeah.
might be going for a double, or they might have nothing in their locker and need an FA Cup to vindicate a relatively good season.
And Wenger might be out by then. Who
There
knows?
you go. So, I mean, we're 4 weeks away. There's a lot of the story to go. I'm going to nail my colours to the mast. I still think, you hear it said, your name's on a cup. I think it's Arsenal's.
My opinion on that, my heart tells me Chelsea all day. I mean, that's the logical guess.
It's logical.
That's logical. But I think with all this whole Wenger out pressure, I think it will be a fantastic way, if it does happen, for Arsene Wenger to win that cup. Will he walk away? Who knows? I mean, they do say he's in already, he signed his contract, but that might be a fantastic way for him to end his Arsenal.
We said that
Stay.
when he won against Hull and against Villa.
Who knows?
And of course, if he wins it, should Arsenal win it, he will be in the history books.
Is it justification for Arsenal season though? If he wins that and gets
Do you know
top
what?
four?
Listen, your club won the FA Cup last year in what was a sort of
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
It's a trophy. Okay, it's a day out for the fans. It's not the top priority, but it's a trophy. The FA Cup for me has become much, much more important over the years because the Premier League is getting harder to win.
Yeah, that's
and if
right.
you don't win that, and you get a day out at the famous stadium, and you've got a trophy in the cabinet,
Can't
fantastic.
complain,
Well, if they win that trophy and Spurs don't win the league, it would mean Arsenal have effectively had a better season than Spurs, wouldn't it?
Depends how much. It depends if you want the money or the cup.
You want a trophy. You want to win stuff.
You want a trophy.
For the
win
fans,
stuff.
you have to-
There's
you
only
have to
three
win
things
stuff.
You can win.
So then they'll be the first losers again, won't they?
Big games this weekend. Two in particular.
Yeah, just really at the top end.
One for me, but
Of course, yeah.
What's the first one?
First one is Everton playing host to Chelsea. Now,
Come on, Everton.
Everton is a difficult
Sorry, did I
place to
say
go
that?
right now. They weren't particularly good against West Ham, I think, last weekend, I heard. And if you remember, Chelsea went to Goodison Park last year and gave Everton a real spanking. I think it was about 6-2, 6-3 in the end. I think
That was
Costa
yeah,
scored.
that's
I
right,
think they're
yeah.
scoring goals at will.
abuse.
I don't think that will be the score now.
Have Everton got enough to play for them to
Lukaku
really
playing.
care
He's
about
playing,
this
isn't he? Is Lukaku playing? Or is he-
Yeah, he'll play.
He's
He'll
playing.
play.
He'll play.
Yeah, and we obviously know the Chelsea connection there. Have Everton got enough? Yeah, I mean they're chasing Europa League spot.
Yeah.
They're at home. They're in good form. I'm not sure if defensively they're watertight, but Chelsea are going for something right now. They're really going for something, and I think that they're edging ever closer. I'm gonna have to take Chelsea to win that one.
Listen, the way they dealt with Southampton at the bridge the other day,
Yeah.
I was at that game. It was cold, and I was thinking, they just look ruthless. There's no point.
Don't forget, you've got a bunch of men there
Yeah.
who know how to win
They know how
titles.
to win.
They know how to win
Yeah,
They
titles.
look
So-
ruthless.
They do.
And Conte was back on form. On the sidelines. He kicked every ball with him, and I just think that he's really been the difference this season.
Might have to drag him over the line with that energy and that.
Yeah, no,
verve
I
that
think he
has.
was really conscious of that because it seems like at some points he was even more animated than at any point I've seen.
Because
throughout
as
the
you get closer,
Yes.
you get closer.
Business.
Well, he
And
knows
it's
how
a
to
business.
win stuff,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
it's a
He knows how
business,
to
yeah.
get his team over the line.
Absolutely.
And he might have sensed there was a bit of a dip against Man United, when it kind of became clear they weren't going to win the game and they weren't at their
He
best
was at a
form.
big stadium,
I think
though.
True.
That's what
But
it
what I'm
is.
saying
Big
is,
stadium.
is they're a big team, they're at the top of the league and they were playing well. You would have thought they would have gone there having lost to Palace thinking, you know what, we need to turn up and make a statement. And they didn't have it. It wasn't at the races.
And that's a very good point you make. They lost to Palace at home, got well beaten at Old Trafford, and got out of jail against Tottenham in the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
So the Southampton game was very, very important.
very
And when it
important.
came back to 1-1, it could have gone either way against a very good Southampton team that just don't have the armoury
Yeah, they don't.
to see certain things out.
Straight
So
from
for
dead
me,
point,
Chelsea will see that through, and Costa will be his horrible goal-scoring best, I'm sure.
Lukaku will want to prove a point now, so hopefully
Yeah, we'll do.
Everton have got something in the pipeline. The other big game,
Yeah, the game that you'll be attending.
That's the one I'll be at.
I think it's called the North London Derby.
Shall I step out of this
No,
one?
not at all. No, it's going to be White Hot Lane
Yes.
on Sunday at
Most
4:30.
definitely.
Listen, once again, you talk to a bookie, there's only going to be one winner, and that's going to be the home team. However, that's all I'm going to say.
However.
It's a derby.
Arsenal will be motivated to put a spoke in the wheel.
Will they though?
They will be
I
motivated,
think
trust me.
they'll be as motivated as Chelsea
Yeah.
were last year to put a spoke
Absolutely.
in the wheel and
So
move
potentially
chasing
that cup game that they just played that could be their spark, couldn't it?
Absolutely, and I said earlier on, there's always defining moments,
true.
and Arsenal on their day are good enough to put a spoke in anybody's wheel.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this game is that a spoke for Arsenal is just take a point.
Just nick a point.
It takes 2 points off the Tottenham,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Imagine you nicked 3 points.
Well, that'd be almost too much to ask for.
But you won it though.
But Arsenal played well at White Hart Lane last year. Coquelin got sent off just after half time for a
That was the
challenge.
difference. That was the difference.
Harry Kane scored a cracking goal. But even with 10 men,
He played,
Arsenal
he
saw it
played
out.
better with 10 men.
I think it'll be good anyway. It'll be good to see anyway. We'll see how Tottenham bounce back as well, because when they get defeated heavily, as they do.
And that's
the
why
ball's
you
falling
love
for
the
them.
Premier League, you know, because if you really want to win the big prizes, these top tough games, you have to see them through.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. You win the Premier League, and there's very little luck involved. You have to be the best dog you can be for the best part of those 38 match days.
right.
You know.
So first and second to win their respective games this weekend, boys. We'll see. We'll review it next
First
week.
and second, yeah.
That's what it is at the moment.
That's what it is.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care.